How happy are we to see this fella right here? Buster Posey, taking time out to give us a little preview about your big day coming up on Saturday. What is going through your mind coming back and seeing the fans and how much they've missed you?
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited for my kids to get to experience the day, and I've got a bunch of family coming out for them to be there. I mentioned, the fans when I announced that I was retiring last year, but to be able to do it here at the field in person is going to be special for me.
Yeah, it's important, I think, for you, but also for them, have a little bit of closure on your career. You came into the park today. What went through your mind coming back to this place where you had a regimen for so many years, the same thing every single day, and it wasn't like that today? What does that feel like?
Different, but it felt similar too, because part of my routine each day when I got here would be to say hello to everybody in the clubhouse. And so I got to catch up with people that typically I'm saying hello to every day that I haven't seen in, it's probably six months or so now. So it was great to see some of the teammates, staff, and just spend a little bit of time with them. That's one of the things that you always hear guys say they miss when they're done, is just the relationships that you've made with guys that just share so many similar interests as you do.
Have you had time yet to miss anything?
Well, I think, like I said, the friendships, the bonds you build with people, and I'll miss the game some as well. I mean, I felt, honestly though, I just feel like I got the most out of my body that I felt like I could, and I was very fortunate to have a great year last year, and was happy that I could have my last year be a positive one, really selfishly for myself. Sure. But I love baseball. I've always loved the game, and I'm watching these guys as closely as I can in between coaching Lee and Addie, our oldest two, in baseball and softball. So I'm definitely enjoying being able to do some of the things with them and Kristen that I've not been able to do in the past. The
folks watching this may notice that Buster looks a little tan. You look very, very sun-kissed. Is this coaching the kids? Is this golf? What are we doing in the time you've never had this time? And that's not just in your career with the Giants as a pro.
Yeah.
It's like since you were like 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little all of the above. I mean, I think sometimes a misconception with baseball is like it's played outside, yes, but a lot of times it's at night. And you're trying to save your energy up before the game. So whether you're on the road or you're home, you're kind of just laying low. So now I'm able to, as you mentioned, go coach them and play some golf mixed in. So yeah, to your point, I mean, I haven't had this time of the year really ever. So it's kind of a whole new world.
All right, so as you mentioned, 2021, one of your best seasons in your career. Did you know going into 2021 this was it? Once you started having a really good season, did that cement that decision, or is that when you made the decision, like, I'm having a good year, this is a good one to go out on?
Yeah, Kristen and I had talked about it before the season and both felt like pretty strongly that this would be it, just for a multitude of reasons. I mentioned feeling like I got the most of my body, and then family stuff. And I think what cemented it for me was when I was putting together a really good year and still felt like that this was the right time for me, that made me feel better about the decision. Because I think I would have questioned it more if I had started putting up good numbers and was like, all right, well, maybe I need to keep going. So I think that ultimately helped me make the decision final.
That's huge to be able to have that type of decisiveness. That's not common, I think, for a lot of guys in this game. What do you think the key has been for you? You've always seemed to be the type of person that once you made the decision, you're going forward with this. Is that just kind of who you are as a person? So many guys struggle with leaving the game.
It's so unique to every person, right? I mean, there's not saying that mine would work for another guy or his decision would work for me, or so it's such a personal decision, and as I mentioned, it's just one that Kristen and I talked through a lot, and just felt like it was the right time for us and our family, and again, there's definitely things you'll miss, but you try to look at all the positives that you're able to do now that otherwise, you're on a baseball field for 8-9 months a year, which so grateful and blessed that I was able to do that. But now excited to do some other stuff.
If we talk to Buster about all of his favorite memories as a Giant, we'd be here forever. So this is going to be kind of hard for you. But I was just wondering, is there one in your career that you constantly reflect upon?
Obviously you can't choose one World Series, so the one I would go to is Matt Cain's perfect game. Just other than the playoffs, I don't think there was a moment in the ballpark where there was such a heightened sense of anticipation. And Cain, one of the greatest games pitched of all time, even like statistically if you look at it, was just so calm through the whole thing. And I actually played golf with him the other day and was joking with him because you can see it if you go back and look at the game in the highlights. I think it was 2 outs in the ninth, and he stepped off the mound and started looking around the stadium. And at the time, I was just like, what are you doing? Like, please get on the mound and get the last out. But now I have such an appreciation that he did do that, because how cool is that for him that he was able to take in that moment? I don't think I could have done that. I would have been
laser focused.
But for him to be able to do that, and now there's video of that, and just I think for the fans, they can relate to it. Like, it's like they're getting a share in this moment, and he's also obviously the central figure in this moment. But it just felt like a community game. You know what I mean? It was the team, it was the stadium. So that was number one.
It was so much fun. I get chills when you talk about it. I love that you shared that about what you thought about Matt. But how would you describe how you're feeling in that moment? Were you nervous?
We were joking too. We think we were still young enough that we didn't get too nervous. Probably doing it now would be nervous, but I mean, I didn't know until after the game that there had only been at that time like 22 perfect games in the history of the game. So if I had known that, I probably would have been a little more nervous.
And none in Giants franchise history. Franchise, yeah. You've been able to do a lot of things because you're not playing baseball right now, but what's one thing that you always wanted to do and you couldn't because you were here all the time?
Yeah, I think it's coaching Lee and Addie and just being able to spend that time with them and practice with them more. Lee mentioned this morning that he wants to work on pitching later today. And he's been doing a great job pitching, but he's wanting to work on it. So just doing that and spending time with their teammates and kids that are a lot of our friends' kids, and being able to just pour into them and enjoy goofing around with all of them. Their
friends have known you their whole lives, I'm sure. So I'm sure it wears off on them who you are. Do you have to reel it in with some of the dads that are getting to meet you and work with you, and are they asking you for advice? Yeah, it's the kids on our team at this point. I'm just another dad out there coaching. Some of the other teams that we play are still excited about it, and I think about when I was a little kid playing, if a retired major leaguer from our team came out and coached, how cool it would be. So I try to have that perspective while I'm doing it. There's going to be people, Buster, that can't come to your day, Buster Posey Day. And as we mentioned, this is really a day for the fans to be able to see you and celebrate you, and for you to do the same back to them. What would you say to those who can't come about the role they played in your career, what they meant to you? I think being removed from the game now, I have probably even more of an appreciation for our fan base. Not that I didn't going through it, but you just kind of are able to see the whole picture a little bit more. My favorite thing, I think, about baseball is how it transcends generations and can bring granddads together with grandsons or granddaughters. I've always felt that with our fan base, that it's more than just a baseball game. And the Giants, I think, in general, have just do an amazing job of making an event when you are here at the ballpark. But to answer your question, the fans that aren't here, same thing that I'm going to say is just thank you. I mean, the support, the passion, I still
it's motivating, right? It helps motivate you throughout your career. It's such a long season, and you need that. I mean, just feel grateful that I got to play in front of a really knowledgeable and passionate fan base that loved the game of baseball, because that's not the case everywhere.
They love you, that's for sure. What does it mean to you that you got to be a Giant your entire career? I got to ask Matt Cain that question too, and there's not many people you can ask that in this game, but you got to wear the same letters across your chest your entire career.
Yeah, I mean, that was my goal all along. I mean, it was something that was really important to me. When kids that grew up watching me, or people around my age or even older, think back, I'm glad that they can think back and that I only had one uniform on, and it was the uniform that I wanted to wear, and it was the uniform that they cared so deeply about, and probably their family did as well. So it's special. It's really special.
Last one. Are we going to still be able to see you? Will you have a role with the Giants going forward? And you know everybody wants to know if you're going to coach or manage someday. So if you want to tell us, you can. But what's your relationship with the Giants for the near future?
Yeah, I have obviously I've publicly stated it before, I have a great relationship with the organization, and they've been really supportive of mine and Kristen's initiative to raise money for pediatric cancer research, and you've helped with that along the way as well. So undoubtedly we'll have some sort of role within the organization, and just kind of working through exactly what that's going to be.
Okay, all right. Well, we're still going to see him. That's good. Buster Posey, congratulations on having your own day and a fabulous career, and thank you for all the moments you gave us.
Thanks, Amy.
Yeah, it was fun to cover.
Good catching up.